Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes and thanks for joining me for another one of my random horror reviews. In today's episode we are going back to the Anaconda franchise. If you're unaware, here on my channel I often pull out this Anaconda set and review one of the Anaconda movies that I haven't yet reviewed. So far I've reviewed the first three. Today we're up to Anaconda 4 Trail of Blood. And also to fill you in on why I keep going back to this set. Growing up, I've said this so many times, I watched the Anaconda films as much as I could, especially the first two. The first one I still often revisit to this day. The second one, I don't often go back to it, but I still actually really enjoy that movie. The third one I've seen a couple of times. However, as I said, we're up to Anaconda 4, and this is the first out of the 5 movies that I hadn't actually seen, so this was a first time watch. But I'm going to get straight into it now because 1, it's a pretty simple movie, and 2, I'm sure you guys don't need me to say it, but it's not a very good movie either, so let's get into it now. Anaconda 4 Trail of Blood. The movie before this one was Anaconda 3 The Offspring. That was where 2 adult snakes had a litter of baby snakes, I guess. One of them survived even though the parents died, and now in this movie the survivors from the last film and a couple of others are hired to take down this baby snake that is now ginormous. Pretty simple plot. Let's get into my thoughts of Anaconda 4 Trail of Blood. So I'm going to start off with a point that I normally bring up with these Anaconda movies, how the snake looks and its design. Unfortunately, this is the worst looking snake that we've had so far in the franchise. I don't know why I sound so surprised. It is predominantly CGI and it is terrible CGI, like some of the worst I'd seen in a long time. I couldn't even really tell what part of the snake I was looking at, as in its eyes, its mouth. I just had no clue what was going on in the facial area. It was just really bad. The consistency was also really bad, as in the snake was really long at parts, and then it was really small, and then it was really skinny, and then it was really fat. I had no clue what was going on. As I said, mostly CGI, if not all. I can't remember if there was any practical at all, which is disappointing because even in the second and third movie, which mostly featured a CGI snake, they tried to put practical in there whenever they could. In this one, they just completely ditched it, and it shows the snake is really fucking bad in this movie. By far, the worst one we've seen yet, but as I said, there's still one more Anaconda movie to get to, so I'm sure it's going to continue on the declining pattern, and it's going to look worse in the next one. But for now, in this one, the worst snake that we've had so far in the Anaconda franchise. Now, to quickly continue on with the Anaconda before we move on to the plot and characters and everything, I'm a wildlife nut. Like, I love animals. All I watched when I was younger was Steve Irwin and shit like that, so I am very nitpicky sometimes when it comes to animal movies and characteristics of the animals that are being portrayed. I don't know why my expectations are still so high, even though we're at Anaconda 4, which never really, was truly consistent with real life anacondas and what they could do, but in the first and second movie, they somewhat at least tried. In this one, it has no characteristics of a snake or an anaconda at all. As I said, this is real nitpicky, and maybe my expectations and the bar is set way too high, but snakes eat their prey whole. In this one, it looks like a bomb went off next to the victims because there's a leg there, their guts have been ripped out. It just looks like a Friday the 13th scene instead of an anaconda attack victim. I don't know, something a little bit nitpicky, but that always stood out with me in this movie watching it for this time. Now, moving on to the story for this one, and I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't see this movie that long ago, and I've already forgotten majority of what happened in this movie. If you told me to describe the plot from start to finish, I just have little dot points. However, one dot point that stood out to me in this movie was how they were continuing on with the Blood Orchard storyline that was introduced in the second Anaconda movie. That caught me off guard. I'm like, what the fuck? They're still running with that? Which, I had a look at the catalogue of Anaconda films, and to my surprise, this movie only came out a year after the third one. And again, I don't know why I'm surprised, because you can tell it's a rushed movie. I mean, the CGI is not good, the story's not fucking good. It's just purely there to make money, or try to make money. I can imagine it didn't make much at all. But it did take me off guard that they're actually continuing the Blood Orchard storyline, so if you kind of like that, I don't know, this movie might intrigue you a little bit, even though I don't remember the Blood Orchard having much of an impact in this story at all. But this movie had me checking out pretty much from the word go. As soon as I saw that snake, I was like, okay, I could have fun with this goofy CGI fest blood everywhere, but there's too much just human drama, not enough snake, even though the snake isn't pleasant to look at. I'm not sure if that was a blessing or a curse. Overall, this movie was really bad, and I'm just going to get to the rating now because this movie was really fucking stupid. I was going to give it a generous 1.5, but I don't think I can. I'm just going to give it a 1 out of 10. This movie's really bad. By far, so far, the worst Anaconda movie. I really like the first two. The first one's great. The second one is honestly a hidden gem. The third one isn't good, but it makes this one look like a fucking this one was so bad. I just didn't enjoy it at all. So I'm just gonna leave my review here. I'm gonna give it a 1.5 out of 10 for Anaconda 4: Trail of Blood. So there we go, guys, a very short review there. I'm sure you got the gist of my thoughts of this movie. Normally when I do a review, I can actually piece together my thoughts on this movie, but I couldn't even sum it up. As I said, I saw this movie not too long ago, and already it's gone from my mind. There's nothing memorable about it because it is just so bad. Not even one of those so bad it's good. It was just a pain to get through. I don't think it has a very long runtime. I think it was an hour and a half, but yet it just dragged. The snake looked terrible. I just have very little else to say. If you've seen this movie, let me know in the comments below because it's really fucking bad. As I said, the first of the Anaconda movies that I haven't seen, 2 out of 5 I haven't seen. The next one I also haven't seen, which is Anaconda versus Lake Placid. I might get around to that soon, just so I can officially say I've seen all the Anaconda movies. I have a feeling that one might be a bit better because it's an anaconda versus a crocodile. You just presume people are going to get in between them, and it's going to be blood and gore everywhere. Maybe we'll see a bit more of the animals. This one just had way too much drama, but I'm babbling on just to make this review a little bit longer, honestly. But thank you for joining me again, guys, for my random horror reviews, and hopefully I will have a better movie coming your way soon. Thanks, guys.